Well, the consumer watchdog has launched an investigation into Telstra's sales practices amid mounting reports vulnerable Indigenous Australians are being hit with skyrocketing bills. The Australian Competition and Consumer Commission has confirmed it's looking into whether the telco breached consumer law. Here's Consumer Affairs reporter Amy Bainbridge. And Amy, what has the ABC found out about this issue?
We've been looking into this issue since February when the Telecommunications Industry Ombudsman released its systemic investigation into the mis-selling of phone plans to people, and they accused the industry of putting profits ahead of good customer treatment. The ABC delved into this a little further. We've been speaking to financial counsellors across Australia, many of them working in regional and remote areas, and We've found that people have been hit with extremely big bills. Telstra is the focus of this report because they have such a large presence in regional and remote areas. We spoke to one young woman in Broome who had a Telstra bill of $2,200 that was then on-sold to debt collectors, and she was threatened with legal action. She was among the many people we spoke to while we were in the region, many of whom are in challenging life circumstances, who are living on welfare and are being sold phone plans they can't afford and don't understand. We're told by people that often they're signed up to plans that cost $200 to $250 a month. That's just for the contract. Often they're upsold to a bundle which includes an iPad and speakers as well. But then on top of that, data charges aren't explained, so that if you go over your data limit, all of a sudden you can be running up huge bills. For example, if you're watching movies online or using a lot of the other apps that consume a lot of data. So it's this mis-selling of plans that the financial counsellors have raised huge concerns about, and have told us that they're often in protracted disputes with Telstra, trying to sort out what they call unfair contracts for people, in many cases living on welfare. So,
Amy, is this the exact conduct that the ACCC is investigating, where it relates to these contracts under consumer law?
The Australian Competition and Consumer Commission is extremely tight-lipped about the nature and the details of this investigation, but what we do know is that a number of financial counsellors have complained to Telstra about this conduct in various locations across Australia. So my understanding is the nature of those complaints is what we have also found out, which is this mis-selling of phone plans, signing people up to things that aren't actually suitable for their needs and aren't adequately explained either at the point of sale or as the contract continues. If it turns out to be unsuitable, people don't understand who they can go to for help, and also a lot of people are very ashamed of their debts as well. Those are sort of the nature of the complaints that have been made to the ACCC, and the ACCC is taking those complaints seriously and has launched an investigation.
And what sort of penalties are there, Amy, for such breaches of consumer law?
So there's various aspects of consumer law, Australian consumer law, that are policed by the ACCC. The ACCC has not gone on the record to speak about any specific aspects that they are looking at in terms of breaches. But I guess more broadly, the types of things that consumer advocates and myself as the consumer reporter would imagine the regulator would look at would be breaches in relation to false and misleading claims, potentially unconscionable conduct, and misleading and deceptive conduct. Now, those breaches, single breaches, can carry penalties up to $10 million, or there's also another factor in terms of that can be calculated in terms of a company's profit. So that's up to courts to decide. The other option is infringement notices as well. They can run into the hundreds of thousands of dollars per per breach. So it's a very serious matter, and of course, Australian consumer law here in Australia is only as strong as what is actually enforced. So it remains to be seen, I guess, what signal the ACCC wants to send to not just Telstra, but the entire telco industry.
Consumer Affairs reporter Amy Bainbridge, many thanks for that update.